So, you all are deep somewhere in the underworld.
That is spooky.
Here we go. Father Bloombad, you are the group caller tonight. You have spent... now, Magnus has departed your company. He pulled one of his usual tricks where some denizen of this place, he suddenly became friends with them. Oron, you have a second first level spell from your list of 6. Or you can take sleep twice of note since you're level 2. I'll describe as usual what you see here after your week-long stay underground at the last one in, and then we'll go from there. You see... This is actually incorrect. That is more akin to what you see. Let me change something real quick.
Doppelgangers.
You can see in here tonight. This is the night before your proposed expedition, which we will talk about in a moment. It is currently Nolog the 10th of Darkened Tide. Were you well above ground, it would be so cold that no matter what you did, you would take damage outside. But those details don't matter down here because you have other problems. Here on the opposite side of the bar tonight, as you came in from your rooms, indeed sit 4 people who seem in every way to look exactly like you. Their mannerisms are nothing like you. They do not even seem to move in a human way. The facial expressions don't line up with their movements. Everything seems off about them. They are, however, they have ordered drinks, and they are paying in silver coins of an ancient mint. Sitting at the bar are 6 gibbering little green people, the lumpy, mutated type people that you encountered in the long, long tunnel between here and the dungeon with the mushrooms and the plants. Here's where I'll hand it over to Father Bloombad. What plans would you like to make, and is there anything you'd like to try to do here before you begin your expedition tomorrow morning?
Well, I guess we should get some drinks, but before, when I see the people that look like us, I turn to the rest of you and I cough and go, tea and biscuits, so you guys can hear. And then I'll go get some drinks for us, and we can sit at the other table.
Want to introduce ourselves?
I mean, you can if you'd like, but I'm not going to go over there.
I admit I'm fascinated by them, but I suspect that anything I learned from them would be of suspect use. God, what do I want to do? One thing I'd like to do at some point is start trying to learn the language of the Underpeople, because being unable to speak to anyone down here does kind of narrow the bounds of possible interaction to violence and bypassing each other.
It's one of the most important uses of a magic user, so that they can speak so many languages. And it's one of the reasons to know monster languages. Speaking of which, Father Bloombad, when you go to order a drink, you can hear these little creatures all gibbering with one another. 2 of them even kind of get into a little bit of a light shoving argument. Does anyone speak any monster languages?
I speak Giantish, but that is and Indian, but I don't think these guys speak either of those.
Draconic.
Yeah.
Wish I spoke language.
What'd you say, Chris?
I wish I spoke language, like of the underworld.
Yeah. All right. Alas, no one understands what they're saying. Father Bloombad, what do you say to Uravok?
You understand that those people over there don't have access to our suite, right?
He looks over there and he says, "They won't be a problem."
Right now, I'll throw 4 gold pieces on the bar and get some drinks.
He gives you, for 4 gold pieces, elegant, well-made steins full of amazing ale. It tastes incredibly fresh, good, crisp.
And I'll go back to the table with them.
I take one draft of my drink and I say, for a time I had imagined we might make a tidy profit shuttling food and drink down from the sunlit lands above. But I have no idea where they are finding these victuals, but they are incredible. I fear that whatever we had to offer would not compete.
Yeah, and by the way, you've stayed here for the past several days. I think, what, 5 days? Because you were adventuring for, let's see, you came back. No, it would be, well, everyone wanted to store their stuff, right? Except for perhaps Oran.
And me. I basically don't own anything.
You don't have anything.
Carry.
Indeed. So everybody else should be, let's see here. Everyone else should pay, I believe, 70 gold pieces. And let me know if you plan to store things for the next week.
There's some real inflation down here.
For Oren and Algar, however, I believe it's just 30 gold pieces. I believe it was 3 days.
Alrighty. Make a note of that.
When you're at.
What else would you like to do, Father Bloombad?
Well, what does everybody think about our plans?
We had some interest in broaching proceeding on either the northern or southern tunnels, right? We've pretty much cleared out the fungus cavern to the south, but there are unknown mysteries to the north. No doubt tremendously perilous, but if it's anywhere near as profitable as our journey southwards, it's worth the risk.
Yeah, we could definitely go on a scouting mission.
All right.
When the last I was awake, there was no southern route, so things have indeed changed in my time. I am very interested this way.
For real? Is it like they dug an entire southern tunnel since like this guy was asleep?
Seems
Our
like
maps. Our maps were very inaccurate otherwise.
That rules. I love that. Sorry, I'm just out of character, tickled by that. Delights me.
All right. Is there anything else, Father Bloombad, or shall we wait until morning comes?
We can wait unless you wanted to go talk to these people, Wizard.
I wouldn't know what to say. I'm interested if everyone else will go with me, but by myself, I'm not much of a people person, I'm afraid. And I'm afraid the other me wouldn't be either.
I'm willing to go.
I'll go with.
All right.
This bar is full of mystery.
I encourage you to not trust the other me, regardless of what they may say. There are certain gaps in their knowledge which they may fill creatively.
Maybe we're the other them.
Well, we certainly are.
As you, Cameron and Oron, as you approach the table, you find them smiling very, very broadly. Their facial expression does not match the movement of their body. So, like, as their eyes track something else, and their body moves, their facial expression does not change. It's just a constant, placid, like, And as you approach, one of them speaks in common. It is Algar, but it is not Algar's voice. And the Algar, he says, and they have on the table some bowls of what look like grapes. And he says, "Would you like some grapes? Come sit with us, enjoy our grapes."
Well, that's going to be a soft no, but what are you? I'm going to ask. You are not us, and we are not you. What are you?
They look at each other, and you hear a clicking noise from some of their mouths. And then when one of them says, "What do you mean? Of course we're like you."
More like who?
"We are like you." And then it's from you, Cameron, like your lookalike, but it has the same voice as the Algar, but it does not have your voice or Algar's voice.
Let me go to their Orin, and I'll say, "Give me your name, magic user, and I'll give you mine."
He just looks at you, his eyes bulging, a big broad smile on his face. You hear a clicking sound in his throat, and he says, "If you do not know me, then I don't know you."
Touche. I think I say to camera, I don't know what these are. I've never come across anything like this before.
From across the room, I am just watching with
This one.
just quiet delight as these people, as the younger generation probes at this bizarre display, trying to figure out what the hell is going on down here.
Well, I don't know enough about my comrades to question them effectively. Not yet, at least.
You hear they just smile at you, as you muse about what to even ask. And indeed, there is no, you know how you might, someone with some social grace can put you at ease. These people have no sense of trying to invite you into any kind of social harmony. Like, they just stare and smile. And you hear a couple of rapid clicking noises from some throats, and then one grabs a handful of grapes and inhales them. And it doesn't look like he chews.
They've got to be bugs. Let me ask their Orin. Would it be troublesome if I could see your spell book, good sir?
Maybe not. Can I see yours? He turns his head as he smiles at you. You get this impression of like something intentionally mirroring you, but inviting you in closer, to provide more.
Well, I don't plan on showing him anything.
Your strategy is effective.
I think I've said all I can say here. Cameron, what say you?
Wouldn't really trust these people.
No. I'm fine. Cameron, I'm ready to return to my party if you are.
I'm ready to return. I don't trust them.
Okay.
It's too strange for me.
All right.
Welcome back. Did you learn anything?
I think there's some sort of mimicking bug. If I
Now,
had
why do you think they're bugs?
they click.
They're like clicking sounds coming from their throat.
Does it sound like this? More like this.
It's a little higher. It's higher like number 2, but more clicky like number 1.
No, I don't speak that language.
But as a natural philosopher, I can tell you there are plenty of insects that mimic their surroundings. And there's no reason to think this isn't another one.
Yes, I would suspect that they regard us as, at best terrain, more likely as prey. It's for the best that you didn't go off of them.
Okay.
But it was
Yes,
great
I
fun
know.
watching. It was great fun watching you converse.
One of
Happy
these
to-
little lumpy green people comes over and starts and starts trying to speak to you all.
I would just look over, just like in a very confusing face. I don't understand you.
Where's my D6s? Hold on just a second.
I suppose one of them might speak the surface world. Hang on a second.
Our barkeep speaks our language, correct?
Yes.
Yes, he speaks many.
So can he converse with them? Can we have him interpret?
Ah. Yeah, what do you say to him?
Wait, what is he trying to tell us?
He comes over and he like sort of pivots and then flops like a millipede, over to the southern part of the bar. And leans his arms over and then they kind of back and forth a little bit, and then he says, hold on, I need something for this. He says that he is a noble from his tribe. He claims that you vanquished his people and nearly killed them all.
Yep. Oh, it does.
It was an unfortunate encounter.
Is this a problem for him?
They back and forth. He says, no. He asks to serve you for pay and glory.
I have no
Sort of-
problem with that. But
I
everybody else-
regard Urivok. Would you regard him as a trustworthy employee under these circumstances? The culture of these people eludes my understanding.
Of course not. They're disgusting little vermin. But they do understand shiny objects. And you can always throw one against the wall and it'll teach the others what to do if you need to.
Like most creatures, if they're fed and they're paid, they'll be loyal.
My concern is we couldn't communicate with them. How would we make clear our intentions? If we could give him portage and expect him to carry it, and he would consider it his pay.
Very good point. How can we learn their language?
Ask him, Urivok, what would he be willing to teach us the language of his people? For pay and for food and pay.
You mean you're asking if Urivok will teach you Goblin?
No, I'm asking Urivok if this goblin would be willing to teach us Goblin.
So applying the rules from last time, the magic user can probably learn Goblin. The magic user has a 15 in intelligence and knows multiple languages. You can learn some rudimentary Goblin if you journey with one of these goblins for a month. In the meantime, Urivok offers for 50 gold pieces to tell you 5 Goblin words.
I don't have that money, but maybe the rest of you do.
I should still have my purse from our last adventure. I will pay the 50, and I will take on the responsibility of learning the goblin language.
He asks what 5 words you would like to know for 50 gold.
Does anyone have suggestions?
I heard that Bree Yark means we surrender.
Follow is a good one.
Follow.
I
Carry.
was just about to suggest that word.
Yeah, no, his mom is.
Carry. Follow.
She was engaged to this guy for
How about peace?
years.
They know that word.
Peace is a good one. I don't know if that's a word that they even have in their language.
They may not, but maybe there's an equivalent of rollover or something like that. We have carry, follow, peace, an equivalent. Fight
Fight's good.
and run.
Yeah. Moss, what do you think of those 5?
I agree with those.
Right.
All right.
All right, for
Pay 50 gold.
all right, for 50 gold throughout for the rest of the night, Uravok teaches Oron the guttural commands: follow, carry, peace, fight, and run.
All right.
You can also note that you know these from now on in Goblin.
Okay.
If they adventure with you for a month and you continue to command them, they will. What's your charisma actually?
My charisma's 9. I'm not.
Right, you
9 may be good for goblins, but not good for most people.
Yeah, you may not have the necessary charisma to. You only need 1. I think it's not that bad though. I think for 9 charisma you should be fine. Charisma at 9, you can have 4 special hirelings. So yeah, you can totally benefit if you manage to adventure with them for a month. You will learn Goblin.
All right. Well, let's make some friends.
All right. So, anything else, Father Bloombad?
No, I suppose we could get going.
All right. The usual rules apply in that you can, except things are getting really weird, admittedly. But when you make it to a dungeon, you can simply describe to me, if someone has mapped it, how to reach the end of it to the next point. But I believe you all said you wanted to explore to the north, right?
I think so, yes.
All
So
right.
anyone has objections?
That's a new area, so I will. The next morning comes, and these patrons have left. They are not here in the morning. They seem to have traveled on to whatever business they had. And you come to the north, and there is a long hallway. It continues on. At one point, it curves off to the left slightly, and then it goes on in the dark as far as your lantern light will go. So do you just start going?
Yeah, I mean, this is the opposite direction that we went last time?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yes. And just to be clear, I made sure that I didn't speak in front of those creatures so they couldn't pick up my vocal patterns.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Sensible plan.
That is very smart.
Conversely,
what kind of
speaking of
stupid
smart
for going
things and
under the-
me not doing them, I'm going to teach the goblins how to play rock, paper, scissors on the way to wherever it is we're going.
One of the goblins misinterprets this and chops off one of the other goblins' hands. But he still has one hand, so otherwise they're okay.
That's all he needs.
It's very unfortunate. You ever seen that video of a chicken being tossed into a crocodile pit, and one of the crocodiles goes for it and gets really overexcited and accidentally bites another crocodile and just sort of death rolls his arm right off? And the other crocodile is just like, hey. This is what that makes me think of.
This is kind of confusing to me. Actually, I may have put you in the wrong place. Goes to D.
I will attempt to map. I will be using Dungeon Scrawl.
Goes to D. Okay. You travel along this long corridor for hours and hours and hours. Were it not for your fluttering lamplight, which extinguishes after 4 hours, you would have no sense of the passage of time. Perhaps the ranger knows. But it goes on and on and on. Your lamplight extinguishes. You find you must refill it again.
Okay.
This continues until you have extinguished your lamplight twice. Who has the lantern?
I have my
Probably me.
continual light holy symbol also.
Oh, right, yeah.
I apologize. Well then, the ranger probably has some means of measuring time. Were it not for that...
I have my singing trick.
Nice,
Right.
That's right, you did mention that. 12 hours pass with no end in sight to this long, 30-foot wide, 20-foot tall stone corridor. The ceiling is stone, the walls and the floor all contiguous stone. This is a construction beyond what man could make. It would not be possible, from your knowledge, probably in particular, Oron's knowledge of this place. It's likely, Oron, when you came through here, this was a cavern. Or you came through, probably the opposite of what you said was true, and you came through a cavern and didn't see this. You didn't see this long, endless corridor. There is no civilization that can make something like this, and it lasts like this. I mean, we're talking, it's been 12 miles more of just perfect stone, mostly unblemished, under the earth. And this goes on until you become exhausted and need to sleep.
Let's set up a camp.
The goblins seem to be making a fuss. And they're jumping around angrily, and they're beating their fists against the wall, and some of them are beating their stomachs.
Oh, they're hungry.
Oh, they're hungry.
Ah.
Pat my belly.
One of them grabs one of the other goblins' hands and bites some fingers off of the one remaining hand he has.
Do they grow back?
Because he confirms indeed they are hungry.
Alright, well, we bust out the rations, I assume.
You guys have rations for yourselves and 4 goblins?
Yeah, I think so. I had 5 days on me.
Yeah, I had brought the ones for my horse with me, so that would give me 13.
I've got 3. I can give 1.
Okay.
How
So
about decrement?
go ahead. Yeah, maybe one person ought to be in charge of it for now. Father Bloombad, since you're the group caller, you want to take care of the goblins for now, and then once it...
Yeah, I'll take myself and them off of my rations.
All right.
I will decrement my rations. I have 4 remaining. Let me know when you need some out of my cash.
So everybody else
Somebody else
should...
brought some. I can't remember though.
Yeah. Everybody else should remove 1 ration. And you continue on the next day for another 6 hours with no end in sight. Finally, towards the end of the 2nd day, you finally see it. The stone corridor is broken. It ends abruptly. And falls off the edge for about 2 feet, as if it had simply been broken by some Promethean god and ripped apart into this open cavern. You can see natural limestone cavern here. There are stalactites on the ceiling, stalagmites on the floor, and several pools of water all along the cavern floor. From where you are, you can tell that most of these pools are very deep. There are drops of water dripping constantly from the ceiling into the cavern. The most remarkable feature from where you are, which you can see under Father Bloombad's holy symbol light, is a statue. The statue is enormous. This cavern is probably 100 or more feet tall. It rises up into the darkness up above you and expands off to either side. The statue is a 40-foot tall statue of a woman. She has fangs coming from her mouth, a necklace of skulls. But despite this necklace of skulls and fangs from her mouth, which she like opens her mouth like this, like, and you can actually clearly see the fangs, and she's like holding up a hand. Beyond that, though, she has hewn from her statuesque form a long flowing gown, and she carries on one shoulder a water jug balanced on her head. The jug, it's like right here, you know. The jug is probably 10 feet tall.
Does she resemble the succubus graffiti that you described to us near the last one in?
Probably not. No. Yeah, there's a difference here. Yeah.
How many hours did you say that journey was? Like 18?
All told, 6 today, 12 yesterday.
Yeah, you. It took you 1 3/4 days of travel I would just give you the distance. It was 18 miles on foot. Father Bloombad, what do you all do?
Does anybody have any ideas?
Well, I'm an intelligent fellow. Could I maybe call back some of my ancient knowledge and see if I can recollect if I've seen this face, or if I can maybe pin this water jug to some sort of deity, or...
No.
Or...
You know what your character knows.
Which is nothing.
Okay.
How are the goblins acting?
The goblins are probably making more noise than would be ideal. But other than that, they're just gibbering and sometimes fighting with one another and forming a gaggle behind you all enough, you know, that you have a loose command and control over them.
Okay. pause and I listen. Is there any sound of motion aside from the gobulins? Anything stirring in the water aside from the droplets raining from above?
Make a listen check.
I can't remember how that's a D6, right?
It's a D6. At the very least, I know you get a 2 and 6, or if you don't, I'm going to say that you do for being a ranger. Regardless,
I don't know if that's good. I
but
rolled a 6.
actually,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, I apologize. I should roll this, and also, I would like to point out, Chris, this is something your character can do. So you're a thief. So specifically, this is something you're very good at. And I would roll a d6 to see, and you won't know. You know, I'll just tell you what I think your character would hear. But it takes 10 minutes would pass to do this.
So would I roll 6 too, or
No, yeah, I would roll it. But this is something that, you know, like hearing sounds, climbing things, disarming traps, investigating traps. These are all things that you're particularly good at.
Oh, okay, I was kind of confused.
And you're also good at backstabbing people if you can maneuver behind them in combat. You can utterly devastate someone in combat with that.
Okay.
So if that's something you want to do, you know, you just pitch it to the group. You'd say, hey, I can stop and listen if this is a good idea. But then, okay, Father Bloombad, what do you all think? Also, you know,
yeah, I'll cuff one of the goblins on the side of the head and be like,
it works, and they all comply. So I will roll for Cameron to see if you can hear something. And actually gotta check your sheet real quick. Oh boy. Cameron, you are very good at this. I just checked your sheet, and you have a 4 and 6 chance of hearing things at doors. This is specifically for hearing sounds at doors, but you hear sorry, I had something happen with my computer there. There we go. You can hear something echoing slightly in the distance. Somewhere over here, Cameron, in the darkness, you can hear slight movement echoing from the ceilings. From the ceiling. You hear the drip, drip of water, and then a slurping, sucking sound as if something is trying to stop the dripping that it's making.
I think I would want to warn the group of the sounds that I heard.
All right.
There's what's called
specifically, you hear it in this larger cavern around this corner. So there's a corner right here, and around that corner to the right, you hear that the dripping from the ceiling above. You hear something like slurp, as if it's stopping something that's causing the dripping. Anyways.
do we want to go down here first to check this area out, make sure... Sorry, is there a drop-off too? Do we have to climb down?
A small one, only a couple feet.
That's right.
Problem at a dead sprint, but nothing difficult.
Yeah, what do you guys think? We go down here, we check this area out first to make sure there's no danger, then before we proceed to where we know there is danger. That way we know there's nothing behind us.
Sound plan?
Right hand rule. Advance cautiously.
Mm-hmm. Put the goblins in front.
I assume probably the ranger and the cleric would also be up front. I mean, behind the goblins. But yeah, anyways, you go down here and you check this this area here. You check this area over here. This takes about another 10 minutes, so 20 minutes of dungeon time have passed. You find nothing of interest in either cavern, except for phosphorescent or bioluminescent mushrooms and stalks and some pools. You can see that in areas next to the stone, these pools go very dark and very deep. Otherwise, there's nothing of interest.
Right. What weapons do the goblins have?
Makeshift spears and slings and stones. Makeshift like D4 ranged weapons at short and medium range, and sticks used as spears, which are D6 at short range.
Okay, yeah. So I pull out my sling. I show them. I pull out my sling and I point like towards the ceiling where she described the noise.
Okay. You want to send them ahead to?
No. I just want them to get their slings out also.
Gotcha.
And I'm pointing like the area where there's I make like a cupping motion on my ear and I point to up there and I'm like.
All right. They mostly comply.
Yeah, I figured. 60%. I was hoping for 60% at least.
All right. What do you do now?
Let's move. Let's move to over like here. See if we can't get some eyes on. We notice anything different about the statue from this angle?
Yeah. Of note, this pool is dark and it continues on for a long ways into like caverns. You can see things sticking up out of the water. It looks like it's particularly deep over here. Otherwise, there's the bioluminescent mushrooms in places, and since you've told everyone to be quiet, and since Cameron pointed it out, you can somewhat hear those sucking sounds every now and then after you stop moving. As you get closer to the statue, you can see a single skeletal hand draped up out of the jug, where it looks like someone has climbed down into the jug at some point long ago.
It not escaped. How tall is the statue again?
It's 40 feet, and then the jug is 10 feet.
Holy cow.
I had not quite grasped how large that was. Let me make a suitable note.
I think we just continue a little further up here. Let's get a fee. Looks like we can get around over here so we can see maybe what's going on over there.
Agreed.
All right, at this point, 30 minutes of dungeon time have passed. And you can indeed see pretty far into the distance. There are several dark pools here. This cavern continues on for, more than 100 feet beyond the edge of your light. When you look up the ceiling, I assume you would, you can see that there are stalagmites, and then from the ceiling stalactites that are hanging down, and they drip water. Some of the stalactites have a muddy, kind of pale tan appearance that sludge is dripping from them.
You think we should initiate some sling fire on those ones?
We should certainly not fall under them. They're just dripping those, so they're just stalactites which are dripping sludge?
Yep. But
Yeah, we should-
there are
This
other
appearance-
stalactites that have a stony appearance, so these look different, you know.
They appear like stalactites.
That would, that would explain the slurping noise.
How far up are they?
What's the length of your light, Father Bloombad?
120 feet.
It continues upward past 120 feet into the darkness.
Yeah, we're probably not going to be able to take that out. I think we're just going to have to avoid walking under them.
Does anyone particularly want to examine the statue?
I kind of do, but like not so badly that it can wait.
Cameron said he does.
I'm interested in the statue.
Okay.
Set
Well, let's
time.
go back this way so that we're closer to the exit, so when it comes alive and tries to put him in its water jug, we can run away faster.
All right. So, Cameron, you raised your hand first. You want to try to climb this thing?
Sure.
All right. The way I think you have something like, I'm just gonna, looking at your character sheet here, it says climb walls. You have an 89% chance to climb a sheer wall. The way I interpret that is how I look at it in basic and expert D&D, not as much in this one, which is in BX I will allow for either an attribute check or, in this case, a save or a check. But that's if you're climbing like a sheer slippery surface. Like you have like a thief is like able to do something no one else can. So you in particular simply won't make the check. Like you can just like go ahead and clamber up that thing and you can climb up the top.
Would you like to tie a rope around yourself first, and I could hold the other end?
I can do a pulley thing. I can give you a
Great.
hand up with. I can give you a hand up with my my shield. Let you stand on my back.
That sounds like a great idea.
So Cameron, you have them put a rope around you? Okay. Alright, you climb up to the top and you make it to the lip of the jug. What do you do?
I would look inside the jug to see what else was in there, obviously besides the skeleton.
All right. You look inside of the jug and it is revealed to be hollow on the inside. At the bottom, you find a massive blue gem. It's easily twice the size of your head. It is probably priceless to most people, or thousands of gold pieces. Its shining luminescence is brighter in the exposed light that you have that bounces and refracts off of nearby slippery surfaces from Father Bloombad's light, better than the brightness of these bright mushrooms here. And you can see surrounding this massive blue gem are many skeletons. All of them sit, their skulls pointed toward this gem, all of them looking at it. And you can make a saving throw.
What is it again?
1d20.
Yeah, if you look at your character sheet, Cameron, you can see on the right-hand side it says saving throw. And you can see that it says 13 currently. So it's gone from 15 to 14 to 13 at level 3. So at this point, you roll a d20 to get 13 or above.
$14.
Oh man. You find yourself transfixed, unable to look away from this gem. But it isn't long before you find yourself clasping the gem, and you look around, you see all the skulls have not moved, and you're able to just long enough yank on the rope and look away, and break your eye contact with the gem.
I pull her out, or him, right? Is Cameron
yeah.
a male or
Yeah.
female?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cameron, you feel yourself being lifted up out of this place, and you gain enough just as you reach the lip, and you have like this big soccer ball sized blue gem. You reach the lip of the place, and suddenly it's sort of like the power of it's broken from you a little bit more. You can do you keep trying to make it out and make it back to Father Bloombad, or do you go back inside to look around some more, or do you drop the gem, or what do you do?
I do try to make my way to Father Bloombad.
All right. At this point, you see him as he's Father Bloombad, as you're pulling the rope, and Cameron pulls himself up over the lip, and he's got this big soccer ball sized massive blue gem. It has no effect on you all. As it's pulled up out of the jug, Cameron, you're able to lower yourself down with one hand nimbly and carry back this massive gem, removed from the jug's power. It seems to have no effect on them.
Well, supernaturally or not, I find myself moved by covetousness. Good gravy! Good heavens above! That gemstone is larger than my head.
You think that this gemstone is worth at least 5,000 gold pieces.
Yeah, I'm looking at the goblins to see how they're reacting.
Oh yeah, they're going nuts, and some of them are already fighting each other, beginning to determine who's going to face off against the giant humans for their prize.
Peace, idiots.
Yeah, let them kill themselves. Yeah, I'll toss you a small sack to put that in.
Goblin translates literally to idiot in human.
Okay, they well, what do you say, Oren? You're the one that has the 5 words, so.
I would say, let me say peace, or probably in their words, it means more like stop, maybe, or quit. And if that doesn't work, does that work? If I just call for them to stop?
Do you use the word you were taught for peace?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I'll kind of explain what I did. So, in almost all of these games, I think maybe in all of them, this is something that always uses a bell curve. So instead of ever making a charisma check, usually in these games it's left up to whatever clever solution you come up with, which you all came up with one. And then your charisma modifier might modify this, but I roll 2d6 on my side. It's called a reaction roll, and they loved it, and so they see the promise in their eyes of how these giant human people are going to make them make them very rich with shiny things, and so they keep the peace, and they don't even murder each other for a time.
Excellent.
Well done. These creatures seem to have a very tenuous attachment to life and limb.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm impressed at how quickly they clot. I expected that one to bleed to death after his hand got cut off, and he's fine.
They're hardy people.
Clearly.
Now, Cameron, there were all sorts of bodies in there, all sorts of skeletons and things. But of course, you could tell that the gem was having an effect on you so long as you were with the gem inside of this, but just of note.
You came very close to a perilous fate.
Now I wonder is the gem the cause of swaying them inside the pot, or is the jug itself? If someone went into the jug now without the gem, would the jug still have that power over one?
Oh, there is only one way to find out.
And I say thank you to Father Bloombad for saving my life.
It was the light that saved your life. And yeah, if you want to go back in there and look for more loot, we will keep that gem here so that it doesn't have any more heinous effects on you.
I feel like the After a prize such as this, it would be greedy to search for more. Did you see anything else in there?
I've only seen like skeletons of past people and other creatures trying to get to this gem, but
You saw
Ancient-
you saw all their stuff too. You just like
Ancient skeletons.
yeah.
Well, now I'm interested.
But
I
Now
mean,
Elgar's trying to climb the thing. I want to see the skeletons.
okay.
if y'all you two, I can climb up back up in there to see.
Elgar
Where's-
probably makes it up like 6 feet and then realizes, no, this is a bad idea. I say, yeah.
I don't usually like point all these things out, but I do. I want to point out, some of this stuff for you all. Okay, so yeah, what would you like to do? Certainly, you've got the potential danger of the jug. The gem has been removed. Do you want to go back and check? There were bodies, so there were skeletons, but there were also all of the tattered remnants of what the skeletons had. But you weren't able to investigate it. Do you want to go back, Cameron, or does somebody else want to do it, or do you not want to investigate any further?
I mean, I could always go back in there just in case.
Okay. You're able to climb back up without any issue, and then you reach the lip of the jug. What do you do? Do you hop inside? Do you look, or do you? What do you do?
I hop inside to see if there's anything worth taking.
All right, it's a 10-foot jug. So you hop in, you probably pull yourself over and then allow yourself to drop down and crunch, and you hear crunching bones, probably a good 6 inches deep underneath your boots. And some of the skeleton, the skulls, tumbled nearby, and you can see the tattered remains of what were clothes, robes, pouches, boots. You find no valuables among these people, but one person who sits at the edge of the jug, his skull, mouth agape, staring at the direction of where the gem would have been, has a satchel.
Can I take a look in the satchel?
Sure. You look in the satchel, and there are 3 tubes that contain vellum scrolls.
I'd take them because I know that one of the members can use them.
All right. Very cool. You're able to clamber back down. Yeah, do you give it to Oran?
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, okay, so Oran, the way these things work, you have already passed, if you're trying to identify a level 1 scroll for an additional one. So you should have 6 spells, and you can now identify a new basic spell. And if it's not a basic spell, then you roll. But you'll do that during your downtime at the end of the session. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
And if you have the time, you must find either a magical master. You need to be able to either understand the spell, because if it's a... You need... Do you have read magic? Actually, I can't remember.
That's a spell?
I think it should be in this game, read magic.
Yeah.
It's page.
Yeah, read magic, that's right.
I don't. But I feel like I should at some point.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, read magic. Yeah, it's first level, but no, I just have sleep.
Very cool. Okay, so when you get back, you can attempt to try to comprehend these 3 scrolls. Don't let me forget at the end of the session. But yeah, we'll talk about some of it when we get there. Okay, so
Thank you, Cam.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, All right. What would you like to do next, Father Bloombad?
Well, do we want to continue searching this cavern, or do we want to leave while we're ahead?
Tempting to leave while we're ahead, but we've survived. We've lost nothing. We've made good progress, and I think our little compatriots are in good humor and good morale. Now seems like a good time to press on a bit.
However, out of character, Ross, what time do you have to end the session? You said it would be early.
Question.
Yeah, 11 o'clock instead of 11:30. So I've got 50 more minutes.
So maybe we should try to make the trip back to, Aiden's Rest, and then potentially even, if everything works out, back here again.
That's not a bad idea. I like that, actually.
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Moss, Nick, how do you guys feel about it? Since that's like a big detour away from like the dungeon.
I like that.
I'm fine with going back. Fine.
All right.
That hadn't occurred to me, but you could actually use the session's time to make the journey. Yeah, it's about let's see, 2 days plus 3 days. It's 5 days. That being said, you can do that without. You can do that without. You can keep exploring if you want. So, like, if you leave now, you're going to have to make the journey back, which is going to put you further ahead in time, which means you'll lose downtime. I'll assume that Magnus would join you, right, and then he'll just stay in the tavern. Go ahead.
Wouldn't Magnus gain downtime if we lost downtime, which would allow him to work on that spell?
No, he's back there anyways. So he left. So he's working on.
That's
the
what
spell.
I mean. He's trying to gain. Yeah, that's like the more time that goes by, the more he gets to work on that spell, right?
Yeah, I mean, but there's not like it's not a game mechanic where you can like, all right, let's it's not like Skyrim, like let's wait 2 weeks or something like that, It's just the passage of time, depending on what you're doing. But he's able to complete the spell anyway, so he's going to have that next time. But my point is simply that if you leave now, you probably won't benefit a lot from trying to make it back and exploring again. But if you explore now and end, you can end in Caiden's Rest anyway. So you can gain the benefits of that. I don't know if that... I guess let me put it simply. If you want to explore, if you want to continue to adventure tonight in this dungeon and not somewhere else, like another level or something, you should go ahead and explore. And then at the end, you'll just... you'll finish in Caiden's Rest. But if you don't want to explore anymore, then you can just go back to Caiden's Rest.
Well, see, I was thinking we could go to Caiden's Rest, and then we could come back to the last one in. We could just make the overland journey to the last one in, and then we would start next week there, without having to journey there.
Yeah, you could do that anyway. So I'm just saying, if you want to do any more dungeon, basically, if you want any more gameplay tonight, like if you want to continue to explore the dungeon, you should do that now, because it'd be like making the trip twice. Like you're already here, if that makes sense. And it's not like if you come back here tonight that you'll have more manpower, right? It's not like you're gonna have.
I didn't expect to be back here tonight.
Oh, okay.
I just thought you were gonna make us. We were gonna make the 2-day trip from Caiden's Rest to the Mouth of Doom. I thought maybe we could go back to Caiden's Rest, like get our XP, and then go to the Mouth of Doom tonight. That way we wouldn't have to do it next session. No, you don't have to. No, you don't have to do that when you have a sanctuary. So if you go, if you go to Caiden's Rest, I thought I was misunderstanding.
Wait,
sorry.
I'm sorry. It depends on the time that's passing. So this is what's weird. But let me let's talk about it later. But let me kind of frame it in terms of like two big options, because this is kind of what's going on. You can either continue exploring, which I would say just keep exploring now, or we could go ahead and end now, which would be sort of like, let's play it safe. Let's just go back to Caiden's Rest with what we have. Now I'll explain all the dungeon time stuff later.
with that in mind,
Well,
I'd say that we can handle 1 or 2 more rooms before we bail. Like
Okay.
we've found so much that we can leave at any time with a clean conscience, and that counts for a lot. But we've got like 45 more minutes to kill. We can peek ahead a little bit and see something horrible and then sprint desperately away, and then we'll have a horrifying story to share for Magnus when we get back.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. 45 minutes to kill.
And
Well, listen. Just make sure that in the event that things go horribly wrong, grab the nearest goblin, throw it at the danger, and run away.
And I guess to quickly clarify, and I'm sorry I have this wrong, but I can explain why later. I'll do it at the end of the session if you remind me. But this mechanism I have, because we have 2.5 hour sessions to explore the mega dungeon. So it's like, hey, if you find a new level, you can describe how to get to that level. If you have a sanctuary, you can go back to the sanctuary. That is not a game mechanic. So it's not like Skyrim where you can like fast travel or you can wait, or it's not something you could employ. So if you go back to Caden's Rest, I have this wrong. You will have to journey back, but you will either way. Like so, it wouldn't. If we went to Caden's Rest now, we would just end the session, and that way everybody's together when you journey next time. And I can explain that at the end of the session if you'd like. So do you guys want to keep?
So I guess we continue to explore. I guess, unless anybody's against it.
No.
All
Just a
right.
little bit.
Alrighty. Do you want to go back here? And well, yeah, you can't really. This is really interesting. I'll show you what's going on kind of at the end here, but in visual terms, it'll make more sense, I think. But so yeah, I guess the only place to go from here is there into that open area where you were.
We could go up this way and then come over there, right?
Yeah, totally.
To avoid the.
All right. At this point, 40 minutes of dungeon time have passed, and when you get up here, you can see that there is this dark pool. It looks very deep, and then there are these various different pools. And over top of these pools are these 3 brown sludgy stalactites.
Are they like, how many feet long are they? Can we estimate that?
I think there's like a couple options here. One is that, they obviously go to the ceiling. The ceiling is more than the length of your light. It goes on into the darkness. It is either, and as far as your light goes right now, is how far the length of that brown stuff goes. But they're, by the way, they're not like hanging all the way down to the floor. They're hanging like, 50, 60 feet up above, by the way. Like they're up above you. So.
60. I mean, out of character, I have a pretty good idea what they are, and I would be apprehensive about going over there, but I mean, in character, I guess I don't know.
You could throw a rock at them.
I could sling a rock at them.
Yeah. You could bribe the goblins to go poke them. We could ask the thief to go poke them.
What would you like to do, Father Boombad?
You better not be saying what I think you're saying.
I guess we're gonna go a little bit closer.
Okay.
Let's see if we can see the extent of their length. If I get closer, then the ceiling might be, revealed.
As you get closer, you can see that there are that this brown sludgy stalactite actually seems to meld into the pale earthen stone above. and the light shows where it starts to, like, so part of it is this muddy looking stalactite that's dripping, and then above it is stone. It continues on up above.
This is a stalactite from the ceiling?
Yeah, stalactite. Yeah, so once you get closer, you can tell that this brown stuff connects to a stone stalactite.
I have no idea what that is, in or out of character. Let's throw a rock at it.
I know it's bad.
40 feet. 40 feet is a sling, like, according to this game, but I mean, in real life, you can kill somebody at 300 meters with a sling, but I mean,
Yeah, if they hold perfectly still. Alright, Can I eat a rock at it with my sling?
Yeah, I mean, you can move and then, you know, get closer and throw a rock at it with a sling.
Well, we've already sent one person out as bait at the end of a rope. I will tie a rope around my waist and trust Moss to drag me away from danger if I am suddenly killed. And I will, with Bloombad's permission, I will take point, get close enough to throw a rock at it, and then throw a rock at it.
Yeah, it's nice knowing you.
Thanks, man.
All right, you chuck a rock at these two things. You hit one of them, the first rock, and it gurgles and spurts something like, and then squeals, and then like shimmies up the stone rock above into the darkness.
Oh.
What is that?
Yeah,
I
not
have
what I
no
thought
idea
they
what
were.
that is.
So now we have no idea where it is.
You've got a very good
Yeah,
point, Mr. Nick.
Let's get the hell out of here.
I feel less safe now. Okay, now let's run away. I am afraid.
You wouldn't want to try a spell on one of those things, would you?
If I can see one, we've got two more.
You've got one more that you can see from. I'm sorry. At this point, you can see one more, and then you can see. You can see one that is much bigger. That's probably twice as big as the first two. You saw one here, which he threw a rock at, and then it receded into the ceiling. And then you see one hanging over here, and then you see a one that's twice as big over here.
I could put the largest of them asleep, and we could try and make our way to the other end of this cavern afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, well, if it sleeps, it may fall and then take enough damage to kill it. Or the sleep doesn't affect it, or it just hangs.
They're over the water, the pools of water.
Yes, there are stalactites hanging far above and from the cavern ceiling over the pools of water.
If they fall off, then if they fall in the water that's supposedly very deep, we may not be able to find the bodies.
Yeah, it might drown. I mean, do we really want to find the bodies?
That's a great point. I like that, and I haven't cast a spell yet. So let me. No wizard set.
Put on my pipe and wizard hat.
That's right. Get to work. Okay. Do we want? Is that something we want to do?
No, it's up to you. It's up to you if you want to do it.
I certainly endorse the activity, though.
I've been turned to stone in a bathroom for 200 years. I'm kind of up for anything else.
I mean, if we're not going to do it, we need to split, since, like you said, we don't know where that other one is.
I agree. Let's move forward and do it.
But what's your range? We may not have to move.
240 feet.
I'll say you can do it. Are you trying to cast it on the big one or the little one?
The big one, right?
Okay.
That's what we're going for, y'all. All right, on the big one. I don't need to roll anything.
Nope, you don't roll anything except you would actually. This will tell you something. I'll say this out of character, but you know I won't keep doing this with you all. But it's based on its hit dice, so it turns out it is a hit dice 4 monster, so it just barely works. And this massive thing dislodges from the stone, and it falls into the water below and starts floating. Once you cast that spell and this thing falls asleep, you can see that its long, what at first appears to be a stalactite actually is almost like a long nose, like a what are those sharks with the long nose?
Sharks.
Hammerheads?
The one with the long nose, the one with the
It's a skinny
marlin or
shark.
whatever. It's like a marlin with a long
Goblin shark.
Something soft.
The goblin sharks have the mouths that come out.
Anyways, this thing has like a long point, but it's actually a mouth, and it opens up into a maw, which floats sleeping into the water below happily, and the other little one in the other water just opens its maw and screams and burps like that, and then it shimmies up into the ceiling afraid.
So it's not drowning, it's floating.
Yeah, it's asleep.
Its babies are running, so we're probably safe.
I don't feel safe. I feel in danger.
Yeah. Do we want the goblins to jump on the sleeping one and stab it to death?
Or just drag it underwater so that it'll drown.
It's asleep, right?
They could, Yeah, but if they could spin it around, so if they could find a mouth on it or whatever, or else just try to pull it under the water.
You're going to try to drown it. But anyways, is the goal to kill it?
Yes.
Who kills it? Yeah.
I think the goblins get this one from the sounds of it.
Okay, the goblins they absolutely love it, and Lord Whatnot is like, this is the greatest decision of his life, having joined this war band, and they feel like they're mighty whaling, sailors or something. They listen to, they don't understand drowning, but if you try to, make throttling motions, they seem to agree, but then they can't contain their bloodlust, and then they spear this thing to death in its sleep, and it roars up, and then there's blood and goo and stuff that spills out of it onto the shore, and they start ripping all the meat out of this, and you've also fed the goblins.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to see people having such a good time, and yet
not at all. Also.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not
also.
at all.
I feel really good about it.
So the second day you don't have to feed the goblins, I guess, is the moral of that story.
All right.
Moral.
Okay.
Oh my God, Heretic! What is that entity? What is that thing?
It's a long-nosed shark.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Look at that nose.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, a saw shark. Yeah, it's also called a saw shark. That's what I was thinking.
You can see from where you are at this point, this cavern. I'm just going to kind of move you forward a little bit so you can see. This continues on, winding its way into the dark. Much of this cavern is filled with water, but there are places to walk. You can tell that it goes on for a long, long ways. Additionally, this cavern also continues on for a long ways into the dark.
Very cool.
Okay.
Give me a second. Time for me to finish this map then.
What do you do?
We want to continue on?
I'm good to wrap up. I feel like moving to an entirely
Yeah, let's move back.
a new area at this point is
all right.
perilous.
Do you all return to Caden's Rest?
I think it would be nice to see the sun, even if it was joined by insane cold.
Yeah.
What do you do with the goblins?
Dismiss them, huh?
All right.
Well,
Right? We don't want to. I mean, we can't kill them.
They're Nick's goblins. What do you want to do with them?
So we could, since the barkeep can communicate with them, we could pay them like a retainer fee. If we know when we're going to come back, we could have the barkeep convey that to them. maybe they'll come. They seem very happy with this. I'm happy with that. I like our arrangement.
Yeah,
They
it's
could
gonna be
also,
like in a week.
They could also crash like in the Mouth of Doom, closer to us, because
Yeah, they're gonna end up getting recruited by other monsters or eaten or something.
Oh my God, you're so right. They definitely get recruited.
Yeah, they're probably
don't have the
safer
attention
down here.
Yeah, they don't have an attention span.
They'd forget them.
Now, these goblins aren't
Straight away.
very smart, but for Oron and Cameron, there are multiple different types of followers in this game, right? So, hirelings are the type of people that you can encounter in a tavern and hire on like this as adventurers. These are crazy enough that I'm going to say if it's a monster, you can use them as a hireling. So they'll do regular morale checks, they'll obey your commands and all this kind of stuff. They get half share of your XP, and so they're kind of, each one of them represents half of an adventurer in terms of XP and loot. So that's the huge downside to having hirelings, but of course they also, you know, obviously help you survive. And then henchmen are completely different. Henchmen are like your buds, and if you die, you could hypothetically even play a henchman, but for most of you, a henchman won't come into play until later. But anyways, I say that to say that when you get back to the last one in, as dumb as they are, the goblins they're like, yeah, you definitely need to either give us that giant shiny thing, or you need to give us like half as many shiny things as that thing. Or not half, it'd be what, a quarter or whatever. Let me look at how many. You got 4 of you, and there are 6 of them, so they want like a quarter of many shiny things as that giant shiny thing. And if you can give them that, then...
Coppers are shiny, right?
It's... But that would be the retainer fee if you want them to hang around and keep working. But if you slight them, then I'm going to do a reaction check to see if they're going to try to fight you.
Yeah, they've already.
Yeah, we should do this outside of the inn so that when we kill them, we don't get in trouble with the proprietor.
Oh, totally. Yeah, you could do that.
So maybe in front of the succubus graffiti.
You never agreed to anything of note, so.
Yeah. Who has copper? Does anybody have copper?
They want a quarter of the value of that giant thing. That would be 1,250 gold pieces.
They want something. I mean, can we convince them to get something that looks nice but isn't? I mean, they don't know math.
Yeah. I'll drop 200 silver on the ground and be like, "That's split that."
I aside to Moss. Sorry, I aside to Cameron. My friends are over optimistic as to how easily a budding criminal might be cheated.
Like the thing, people are pretty dumb.
All right, here we go. This is going to be at quite the disadvantage here. Oof. They attack you immediately.
Yeah. Excellent.
Now, yeah, you were like, I was hoping for that, actually. Yeah, I was hoping you would say that. Yeah, I mean, they probably don't stand a chance, but 2 of you are, well, one of you's level 2, so I guess we'll give it a try. Any spells? I guess you have one more spell. Do you want to declare your second spell?
Come on. I'll just,
make it sporting.
Let's throw some weapons. We can always back off.
We could. I mean, I have a stick.
I'm right there in front of them. I'm the one that dropped the 200 silver on the ground, so I should be their main target, right?
You could do that.
Yeah, but they are feral little idiots, so they'll probably get overexcited.
All right, yeah, you can do that if you want. All right, in that case, roll a d6 for initiative, Father Bloombad.
Oh.
House wins. You're able to act first. Any movement or missile fire. Now, you're right next to each other, so anybody doing missile fire that misses will possibly hit your ally. So, otherwise, though, if you're moving, you can move now. Cameron and Oren, you would have to move if you wanted to try to hit one of them, unless you have a spear. Which I think, Cameron, actually you do have a spear. But Cameron, if you move, you could get backstab. But then you'll also expose yourself to being attacked, and you don't have lots of hit points. Alright. None of them are going to move, and none of them are going to fire missiles. They're going to just attack the front rank. Alright, no movement and no missile fire, right?
I can, now I'm going to see what those two can do at the first round.
Alrighty. In that case, melee and magic. Your target ascending armor class with a goblin is ascending armor class 13. Nice. 4 damage. You crack one upside the head, kills it. Algar?
I will wallop one with the flat of my sword. I'm going to be relatively merciful here.
Oh, subdual
Actually,
damage?
Yes, if I may.
Alright, yeah, totally.
Unfortunately, it is not effective, as I rolled too low.
It would have been interesting if you had won at damage 12. Because it would have... Your subdual damage would have taken off the other hand. But... Anyways, Cameron, if you want, you can attack with your spear from the second rank.
Would that be like a roll 6 or something?
It's a D20 to hit, and the enemy's armor class is 13, so you roll a D20 to get 13 or above. And I don't think you have a strength. Yeah, so you don't get a to hit bonus. So you just roll a D20 to get a 13 or above. Oof, misses. Alright, that makes it their turn. Those two chumps miss really badly. Oh my. Yeah, they miss all really badly. Roll a D6 for initiative. Unless anybody's gonna...
You're no higher level than we are.
Oh, never mind. House wins. Wow. Okay. Alright, yeah, and... if nobody's moving, you can do your melee attacks.
I shall boop them again. Subdual, as last time.
You crack another one.
This one might hit, but maybe not. I don't know what their AC is like.
It does not hit, actually. But it is really horrifying to them. They are going to make a save for morale. I think that fails pretty badly. They are horrified, and you see Lord Whatnot has been slain in front of their companions, and the one with one hand, the one-handed goblin, he's now the nemesis of the campaign, obviously. He says, Oron, you hear in Goblin, run.
Okay.
And Algar and Father Bloombad and Cameron, you can attempt to attack if you want as they flee, or you can let them go.
I let them go.
Take a swipe.
Alrighty.
I miss. I'm embarrassed.
Alright, they flee off into the darkness. Alright, and...
trust the goblin.
And you make it back after several days. Now, several days pass as you journey through the underworld. Oron, your companions know the way well. You find the earth nearly completely frozen, beyond frozen. It is miserable outside. And you wonder if you'll even survive the journey that they bring you on. Your life is definitely in their hands, because in leaving the underworld, you see a world that is just ice. But after about 2 days of travel, staying at guard towers that they lead you to, you eventually make it back to a village frozen on a frozen riverfront, and a warm hearth that you've not seen in many, many, many years. And that is where we'll end our adventure for the night.